I think that my creative practice is driven by my desire to allow myself to be vulnerable in how I present my work to an audience. Despite being very detail-oriented, I found myself less interested in chasing some vague idea of perfection and more fascinated with sharing with the audience the things that excite me in music in as sincere a way as possible, even if it is a bit rough around the edges. My name is Njabulo Phungula and I'm a composer from Durban. I guess my musical journey began at the age of 13 when I began making music, mostly of the electronic variety, on various digital audio workstations. And as my appetite grew, I took up the piano and learned music theory, and eventually I went to the University of KwaZulu-Natal in 2012, and it is there that I met the composer Jürgen Bräuninger, with whom I studied composition for 2 years. There's a very complex way in which the creative process deeply embeds itself in my work as musical material. So I'm always extra wary of the conditions in which I work, and I have a multi-tiered approach to establishing musical material. I have these seemingly detailed written sketches which comprise of keywords, shapes, and musical notation. And I also work a lot with a digital audio workstation, and I will record a lot of my sonic adventures with the objects at my disposal. I then jump back and forth between these mediums as I document some of these ideas as audio sketches. I would say that curiosity has been the most effective part of my creative toolkit, and it has become the driving concept behind my overall creative philosophy. And I try to cultivate a space that opens up as many doors as possible for expression. I like to surround myself with and explore instruments and found objects which I collect. And in a way, my workspace is a large musical sketchbook that I physically inhabit. I would like to think that my music is a means for me to document the ever-changing conversation that's unfolding between myself, my interests, my practice, and an imagined, nondescript audience. The work that has been most consequential to the establishing of my current musical preoccupations is my string quartet, Like Knotted Strings. One of the sources of inspiration was the work of the Argentinian writer Jorge Luis Borges in my exploration of the infinite and the convoluted narrative. And I initially wanted to address my struggles with musical form, and I began to ask myself if I could make the seemingly unglamorous mechanics of the composition process a central part of the work. This approach, at first glance, seemed restrictive, but has now come to inform how I maximize my creativity in subsequent projects. For instance, what would happen if you establish multiple versions of a single idea, perhaps in a situation that can accommodate only one of them? Well, you could write a work that dismisses the idea of hierarchy in the creative process. Use multiple versions of a single idea in such a way that the distinctions between concepts such as exposition, repetition, and development are complicated by the work's reliance on being self-referential. The work acts as a document of the process of its own creation.